I recently found out my wife cheated on me with my supposed best friend. I am at a loss for words, really struggling to make sense of everything that has happened. I met my wife Vanessa in college when we were both 18. Our first date sparked something real quick, and we were saying I love you in no time. Vanessa was pretty forward, and honestly I was thrilled about it. We opened up about everything to each other. Her dad died from cancer in her last year of college, and I was there beside her every step of the way, especially through the hospital nights. Getting through that tough time really solidified our bond. She used to say she would be lost without me and even called me her soulmate. I was head over heels and did not hesitate to propose a couple of years after we graduated. Life seemed perfect. I had married my dream girl, landed a great job right out of school, and both our families adored us. My best friend since third grade, Derek, was like a brother to me, or at least that is what I thought. Derek was like family to me. He had also gotten married and moved away because his wife got a prestigious job at a top law firm. But tragedy struck a year ago when she died in a car accident, leaving Derek completely devastated. He moved back, but he was not the same guy anymore. I did my best to support him, though he shut out just about everyone. Understanding his grief was not easy, so I suggested to Vanessa that she should try talking to him, hoping her experience with loss might help. In hindsight, that was a huge mistake. Vanessa started spending loads of time at Derek's, hiking, movies, lunches, just the two of them, like a couple. This was way more than I had anticipated, and it definitely made me uneasy, though it seemed to cheer Derek up. What I did not know was that Vanessa had always thought Derek was a sleaze. Back in the day, he was notorious for jumping from one fling to another, even cheating on his late wife. Vanessa despised him for it and often wondered why I would be friends with such a guy. Her intense dislike should have clued me in that something was off when suddenly she was inviting Derek to our plans and growing distant, glued to her phone, avoiding intimacy, and coming home late. One day her behavior became too suspicious. She was texting someone, and when I asked who it was, she snapped, calling me controlling. I later confided in Derek about how their closeness was bothering me, and he brushed it off, making me feel paranoid. It was clear I was being gaslit. Then Vanessa said she needed some space and was visiting her sister for the weekend. Something felt wrong, so I called her sister, who was expecting Vanessa, but she had not shown up yet. On a hunch, I drove by Derek's place late that night, and there it was, Vanessa's car parked right out front. My heart sank. I let myself in through the back, my mind racing, and then I heard it, Vanessa's moans echoing down the hallway. I was shaking as I reached the bedroom door. Peeking inside, I saw them together, Vanessa on his nightstand, an image that is burned into my mind forever. I confronted them, and the look of shock on their faces. I walked out, my world crumbling, ignoring Vanessa's pleas. I drove away, tears streaming down my face, feeling utterly betrayed. Since then, I have been staying with a friend, unable to eat or sleep, just replaying everything over and over. Work gave me some time off, but the calls from both Derek and Vanessa and our families have been nonstop. I told my family I am okay, but I have not answered any of their messages. This whole mess has left me reeling. How could she do this to us? I am at a loss, folks. Any advice would be appreciated. Just when I think there is no more to come, there is an update. Looking back, our marriage was mostly happy, which is why it has been so hard to let go. But the more I think about her betrayal and how they both manipulated and lied to me, the angrier I get. I cannot forget how Vanessa would snap at me for asking simple questions, or the way Derek dismissed my concerns when I confronted him man to man. Their deceit has not only broken my heart, but also my spirit. And even though Vanessa tried to act all sweet and loving, claiming she was thinking of me, it is clear she was not. She was with Derek, not wearing her panties, a detail that disgusts me now as I realize she was intimate with us both in the same night. I feel so used, so foolish. How could I let them treat me this way? The injustice of it all is overwhelming. My lawyer has advised against doing anything rash, warning it could hurt my case in the divorce she now agrees is inevitable. Despite all the pain, Vanessa is still trying to reach out, sending emails filled with excuses and even scripture about forgiveness. But after everything, how can I even consider forgiveness? The days that followed were a fog of routine and numbness. I immersed myself in work, using it as a distraction from thinking about Vanessa and the wreckage of our relationship. It was a temporary fix, but it got me through the days. Then another shock came. A call from my mom, telling me Vanessa was in the hospital. The news hit me like a freight train. Despite everything, the news jolted me, stirring up a mix of old emotions and concern. She overdosed, but she is stable now, my mom explained, her voice thick with worry. Vanessa was in a psychiatric ward, under close watch. Why? Why would she do something like that? The question was more to myself than to my mom. There was a heavy silence on the other end, filled with shared sadness and confusion. I knew I had to see her, not to reconcile, but to find some closure, to understand why. When I arrived at the hospital, seeing her so frail and surrounded by machines was almost too much to bear. She was asleep, with a peaceful expression on her face that I had not seen in months. It was a stark contrast to the chaos and pain that had defined our recent interactions. Sitting there, watching her breathe, the weight of our shared past and all the love we once had settled heavily on my chest. I left before she woke up. There were no words left that could bridge the gap between us, no actions that could undo the hurt. But seeing her there, vulnerable and alone, reignited a tiny spark of the affection I once felt. It softened the bitterness, but not enough to change the path I was on. The divorce proceedings were already in motion, and despite the complications with our shared assets, I was determined to see it through. Vanessa's actions, driven by whatever pain or demons she was facing, could not derail the necessity of cutting ties. Our finances were a tangled mess, years of shared dreams and savings that now had to be meticulously divided. The thought of arguing over bank accounts and who owed what was daunting. My lawyer reassured me, promising to handle the details, advising me to focus on rebuilding my life, piece by piece. As I sat in my lawyer's office, going over the financial disclosures and separation agreements, I felt a pang of sadness for all the plans we had made. There were moments when the grief of losing not just my wife, but my best friend, and the life I knew, threatened to overwhelm me. But each step of the legal process, each signature on those stark white papers, reinforced the necessity of moving on. It was a slow, painful unraveling of a tapestry we had woven together with so much hope and love. One evening, as I sifted through old photos and memories, trying to decide what to keep and what to discard, I stumbled upon a letter Vanessa had written to me years ago. It was full of love and promises, dreams of the future we were supposed to build together. Reading her words, so full of hope and affection, I could not help but mourn the loss of what could have been. It was not just the betrayal that stung, but the realization of how far we had strayed from those early, innocent days of love and laughter. I had to make peace with the fact that the Vanessa I knew then was not the Vanessa I was divorcing now. People change, and sometimes they lose their way so profoundly that the only option is to let go, no matter how painful it is. I was learning to accept that, to forgive not for her sake, but for my own healing. Forgiveness was not about forgetting or excusing her actions. It was about freeing myself from the anger and bitterness that had taken root in my heart. As I filed away the letter, alongside other remnants of our past, I felt a slight ease in the tightness around my chest. It was a small step towards healing, a moment of letting go that seemed both insignificant and monumental. In the quiet of my apartment, surrounded by boxes of a life half-packed, half-lived, I realized that moving forward was not just about physical separation or legal proceedings. It was about reclaiming my sense of self, the part of me that had been overshadowed and neglected through the turmoil of a failing marriage. The road ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges and new beginnings, but for the first time in a long while, I felt ready to face it. The pain of the past would always be a part of me, a bitter chapter in my story, but it would not define my future. As I settled into my new routine, life became a mix of work, quiet nights, and occasional meetups with friends who had been my rock through the darkest times. Their presence was a constant reminder that, despite the chaos, I was not alone. Slowly, the raw edges of my emotions began to dull, the sharp sting of betrayal giving way to a deeper understanding of my journey and the lessons learned. Then, one afternoon, a knock on my door pulled me from my thoughts. It was Vanessa, showing up without warning. Seeing her standing there, a mix of hope and despair in her eyes, brought back a flood of emotions I thought I had managed to contain. She looked different, worn but determined, a stark contrast to the vibrant woman I had fallen in love with all those years ago. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. It was not a demand, but a plea, one that resonated with a part of me still tied to the past. I hesitated but eventually nodded, stepping aside to let her in. The familiar scent of her perfume, a ghost from our past life together, filled the air, unsettling yet oddly comforting. We sat down, the tension thick, both of us bracing for the conversation neither truly wanted, but both needed. I have completed my therapy, Vanessa began, her hands fidgeting nervously. And I've learned so much about myself, about why I did those terrible things. Her eyes met mine, searching for any sign of softening. I am not asking for reconciliation. I know that is too much. But I need you to know that I am truly deeply sorry for the pain I caused. Her words, sincere as they seemed, were hard to process. Part of me wanted to believe her, to find some comfort in her growth and acknowledgement of her mistakes. Another part, scarred and wary, remained guarded, protective of the fragile peace I had built. I appreciate your apology, I responded after a long pause. And I am glad you are finding your way through therapy. But I have moved on, Vanessa, or at least I am trying to. The conversation that followed was a dance of regret and acceptance. Vanessa shared her realizations and the hard truths she had faced about her actions and their impact on our marriage, and her personal sense of integrity. It was a conversation full of might-have-beens and what-ifs, a delicate thread connecting our shared past with our separate futures. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the room, Vanessa stood to leave. I hope you find happiness truly, she said, her voice steadier than when she had arrived. You deserve that. Watching her walk away, the finality of our parting hit me with unexpected force. It marked the end of our shared story, the closing of a chapter filled with love, betrayal, and eventual growth. I was left alone with my thoughts, reflecting on the closure we had both sought and perhaps found in our own ways. The following weeks were a testament to resilience. I immersed myself in my passions, rediscovering interests that had fallen by the wayside during my marriage. Photography, which had always been a hobby, became a therapeutic outlet, capturing moments of beauty in the mundane. Each photo, a snapshot of life moving forward, was a step away from the past, a celebration of renewal. My social circle gradually expanded, not with new faces, but with old friends who re-emerged, offering laughter and companionship. We shared meals, stories, and the kind of easy camaraderie that comes from long-standing connections. These moments, simple yet profound, were reminders of the joy that could be found in new beginnings. One crisp evening, as I set up my camera for a shot of the twilight skyline, a sense of peace settled over me. The city lights twinkled like stars grounded to earth, each a beacon of possibility. It was a scene I had photographed 100 times before, but that night, it felt different. I was different. The heartache that had once threatened to define me was now just one part of a larger, richer tapestry of life experiences. Life, I realized, was not about avoiding the bruises or the breaks. It was about healing from them, learning, and stepping into each new day with a little more wisdom and a lot more hope. And as the shutter clicked, capturing the perfect alignment of light and shadow, I knew I was ready to embrace whatever came next, unburdened by the past and open to the future. As weeks turned into months, my sense of independence grew stronger. The routine of daily life, once overshadowed by the chaos of my broken marriage, now brought a comforting stability. My job, a place of professional satisfaction, became my refuge, where I could excel and redefine myself outside the shadows of my personal struggles. One evening, while sorting through some old boxes I had yet to unpack, I found a collection of travel journals from my past adventures with Vanessa. Each page was a vivid reminder of the joy and excitement we had experienced together. Flipping through the entries, I was momentarily transported back to those times of happiness. Instead of feeling sorrow, I felt gratitude for those experiences, recognizing that they had helped shape me into who I was today. Healing was not a straightforward process. Some days were tougher than others, with waves of nostalgia threatening to drag me back into sadness. But I learned to navigate these emotions, seeing them as reminders of my capacity to love deeply and to move on with equal strength. Evenings, once filled with reflection and occasional sadness, gradually became periods of active engagement and self-improvement. I signed up for a cooking class, something I had always wanted to do but never had the time for. Each session was an exploration of new flavors and techniques, and the camaraderie of cooking with others brought a new joy into my life. In the midst of simmering pots and fragrant spices, I began to feel contentment and the possibility of new friendships. One evening, after a particularly enjoyable cooking class, I invited a few classmates over for an impromptu dinner. The night was filled with laughter and shared stories, a stark contrast to the quiet nights I had grown accustomed to. Cooking for others brought a sense of fulfillment I had not realized I was missing, and their appreciation of my efforts was incredibly uplifting. During this time, I also rediscovered my love for writing. I started a blog, sharing not just recipes, but also my reflections on life, loss, and the unexpected turns we all face. Writing became a therapeutic outlet, a way to articulate the thoughts and feelings swirling in my mind. The feedback from readers, many of whom had experienced similar struggles, was overwhelmingly positive, and I found a supportive community online. As autumn turned to winter, the colder days brought introspection and the warmth of indoor activities. My apartment, once filled with painful memories, slowly transformed into a cozy haven filled with books, photos, and the aroma of home-cooked meals. I took pride in my space, arranging and decorating to reflect my tastes in the new chapter of my life. One chilly evening, as I sat by the window watching the snow gently fall, I realized how far I had come. The pain of the past, once a constant presence, had receded, leaving behind lessons of resilience and the knowledge that I could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The tranquil scene outside mirrored the peace I had finally found within myself. This newfound peace was not just about recovering from heartbreak. It was about embracing life's journey with all its imperfections and surprises. It was about understanding that every ending is also a beginning, and that grief, when navigated with patience and self-compassion, can lead to a deeper appreciation of life's gifts. I no longer looked back with anger or regret. Instead, I saw my past with a clear-eyed recognition of how those experiences had enriched me, teaching me about my own strength and the unexplored possibilities of the future. As I watched the snow cover the world in white, I felt a deep connection to the rhythm of life, to the cycles of loss and renewal that define our existence. In that quiet moment, with the soft sound of snow against the window pane, I felt ready to move forward, to embrace the unknown, and to allow myself to love and live fully again, free from the burdens of the past and inspired by the promise of tomorrow. The winter months passed, and with the arrival of spring, the world around me seemed to awaken with new life, mirroring the renewal I felt within. The longer days and warmer weather encouraged me to venture outside more often, reconnecting with nature and the simple pleasures that had once brought me joy. One Saturday morning, I decided to revisit a hiking trail Vanessa and I had often explored together. As I walked the familiar path, memories of our past trips surfaced. Yet instead of sadness, I felt a sense of peace. The beauty of the forest, with its budding trees and chirping birds, reminded me of the cycle of life, of endings and beginnings, and of the resilience in nature, which I had come to find in myself. On one of my solo hikes, I unexpectedly met Emma, another nature enthusiast. We both stopped to admire a breathtaking overlook, and our conversation started naturally. I found her company both soothing and exhilarating. Emma's passion for the outdoors and her vibrant personality brought a new joy to my hikes. Over the following weeks, our spontaneous meetings on the trails turned into planned hikes together. Spending time with Emma made me appreciate her outlook on life, her positivity, and ability to find joy in small things. It was a refreshing change that lifted my spirits. We exchanged stories about our lives, our successes, and our challenges. With Emma, I felt a connection rooted in the present, free from the shadows of my past. As spring transitioned into summer, Emma and I started tackling more challenging trails, pushing each other to new heights, both literally and metaphorically. Hiking with her not only boosted my physical endurance, but also strengthened my emotional resilience. The physical challenge of climbing, combined with the serenity of nature, provided a perfect setting for self-discovery and building a friendship that hinted at something more with each passing day. One unforgettable hike led us to a summit just in time for a stunning sunset. As we sat there watching the sky transform into shades of orange and pink, Emma turned to me and said, "It's incredible how each sunset is unique, isn't it? Just like every day, every experience, no matter how similar it seems, has its own beauty. Her words resonated deeply with me. They reminded me of my journey, from the depths of despair to moments of genuine happiness and appreciation. Each sunset and sunrise marked a step away from my past and toward a brighter future. Our summer of hiking culminated in a weekend camping trip to a national park we had never visited before. Preparing for the trip, setting up our campsite, and sharing stories by the campfire deepened our bond. The natural setting, away from the distractions of everyday life, allowed us to open up about our hopes and dreams for the future. In the flickering firelight, with the stars above us, I felt a surge of optimism about what life still had to offer. Emma became more than a friend. She became a crucial part of my healing journey. With her, I rediscovered my ability to trust, open up, and love again. She showed me that while the scars of the past never fully disappear, they fade, becoming less defining and more a testament to our resilience. As summer drew to a close, I realized my feelings for Emma had grown deeper. The idea of exploring a romantic relationship was both thrilling and intimidating. However, equipped with the lessons of my past and a new perspective, I felt ready to take that chance. The end of summer marked not just a change in seasons, but a personal transformation. The man who once viewed the world through a lens of betrayal and loss now saw it with hope and new beginnings. Emma and I stood at the threshold of a new chapter, filled with the promise of mutual growth and shared adventures. As autumn approached, bringing new colors and cooler days, I felt a deep gratitude for life's unexpected twists. The journey from heartbreak to healing had been long and difficult, but it had led me to a place of greater understanding and appreciation for life's ever-changing landscape. Autumn brought a refreshing crispness and painted the world in shades of amber and gold. As the leaves changed, so did my life, evolving into something richer and more fulfilling than I had dared to hope for in my darkest moments. My relationship with Emma deepened, grounded in shared experiences and a mutual understanding that was both comforting and exciting. We found joy in simple activities like strolling through the park, our steps crunching on fallen leaves, our conversations ranging from the mundane to the profound. Emma had a perspective on life that challenged and inspired me. She encouraged me to dive back into my passions and reconnect with old friends I had neglected during the turmoil of my marriage's end. One cool October evening, Emma and I hosted a dinner party together. It was a significant step for me, merging my old life with my new one, introducing Emma to the close friends who had supported me through my darkest times. The night was filled with laughter and stories, the warmth of friendship enveloping us all. Seeing Emma interact with my friends, fitting seamlessly into the tapestry of my life, filled me with a profound sense of peace and joy. As the season progressed, so did my sense of self. I found myself getting more involved in the community, wanting to give back to those who had supported me during my toughest times. Emma and I joined a local environmental conservation group, spending our weekends outdoors, not just enjoying nature but actively working to preserve it. This work, meaningful and rewarding, mirrored my own recovery, repairing and nurturing, much like the landscapes we tended. During this period, I also reassessed my professional goals. With Emma's unwavering support, I sought new opportunities at work, leading to a promotion that brought new challenges and validated my growth. My career, like my personal life, was advancing in unexpected and exciting ways, filled with new responsibilities and new horizons to explore. As the holiday season approached, a time that had once been filled with painful memories, I felt a shift. This year was different. Emma and I decided to create our own traditions, blending elements from each of our pasts to form something uniquely ours. We spent Thanksgiving volunteering at a local shelter, serving meals to those in need, a humbling experience that made us appreciate our own blessings. When Christmas neared, Emma and I decorated our apartment with a mix of old and new decorations, each ornament holding a story, a memory, or a hope for the future. We hosted a small holiday gathering, inviting both our families to meet for the first time. Despite some initial awkwardness, the evening ended with laughter and warmth as our families began to blend together. On Christmas Eve, Emma and I exchanged gifts, each present carefully chosen to reflect our growing understanding of each other. I gave Emma a scrapbook I had made, documenting our adventures together, a tangible representation of our journey and the memories we had created. Her gift to me was a set of vintage cameras, reigniting my passion for photography and symbolizing her support for my artistic pursuits. As we sat by the fire, sipping hot cocoa and watching the snow gently fall outside, I reflected on the year that had passed. It had been a year of tremendous change, of endings and new beginnings. The pain of my divorce had faded into a distant memory, overshadowed by the joy and love that now filled my days. I realized that healing truly comes in its own time and in its own way. The journey might start in darkness, but it does not have to end there. With each step forward, with each new day and experience, the past becomes a foundation, not a prison, something to build upon rather than something to escape. As the clock chimed midnight, signaling the start of a new year, I felt ready. Ready to continue this journey with Emma by my side, ready to face whatever challenges and joys the future might hold, and most importantly, ready to live fully, love deeply, and embrace each moment with gratitude and courage. The new year promised new possibilities, and I was eager to meet them head-on, no longer defined by my past, but enriched by it. The new year brought a sense of anticipation and renewal. With Emma by my side, each day held the promise of shared joys and discoveries. We started planning a trip abroad, a way to celebrate our relationship and explore new cultures together. The process of choosing destinations, booking flights, and researching places to visit was exhilarating and symbolic of the new phase of our lives, adventurous, hopeful, and united. As winter turned to spring, our trip took shape. We decided on a 2-week journey through Italy, a country neither of us had visited, but had always dreamed of exploring. The thought of strolling through Rome, savoring authentic Italian cuisine in Tuscany, and watching sunsets over the Amalfi Coast filled us with excitement. It was not just a vacation, it was a celebration of our survival and rebirth. Finally, the departure date arrived. We packed our bags with essentials and a few luxuries, eager to embark on this new adventure. The flight was long but filled with anticipation. As we landed in Rome, the reality of our journey hit us. The ancient city was a perfect backdrop for the beginning of our new chapter. Our days in Italy were a mix of sightseeing, relaxation, and unexpected adventures. We marveled at the Colosseum, wandered through the Vatican museums, and tossed coins into the Trevi Fountain, each activity filled with laughter and the joy of discovery. In Tuscany, we rented a small villa overlooking the vineyards, where the days were slow, and the evenings were filled with wine tastings and homemade dinners under the stars. These experiences, shared with Emma, deepened our bond and reinforced the new life I was building. The journey through Italy was more than a trip. It was a symbol of my personal transformation and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. With Emma by my side, I felt ready to embrace the future with hope and excitement, leaving the past firmly behind. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over our villa's terrace, Emma turned to me, her eyes shimmering with the colors of twilight. "This trip," she began, "is more than just seeing Italy. It's a reflection of our journey, how far we've come both as individuals and as a couple." I squeezed her hand, feeling the truth in her words. It's about looking ahead, using our past to build something new and wonderful. As the days passed, our love for Italy grew, but even more so, our connection deepened. We shared stories from our pasts, not with regret, but as milestones that had led us to this moment together. Each story, each shared silence, made our bond stronger and more profound. Our travels eventually brought us to the Amalfi Coast, where dramatic cliffs kissed the turquoise sea. In a secluded cove we stumbled upon during a hike, I realized that my feelings for Emma had transformed. She wasn't just part of my healing process, she was now essential to my life, my partner in every sense. On our last evening in Italy, sitting by the tranquil sea with waves softly lapping the shore, I took a deep breath and spoke from my heart. "Emma, these past months and our adventures together have taught me so much, about the world, about myself, and about us. I can't imagine my life without you. You've brought joy back into my life, and I love you deeply." Emma's eyes sparkled as she smiled. "I love you too," she said softly but with certainty, "and I'm excited to see where our journey takes us next." We returned home rejuvenated, our hearts full. Our trip was more than just a tour of beautiful landscapes. It was a spiritual and emotional journey that brought us closer than ever. We came back with countless memories, photographs, and experiences that would sustain our love for years to come. As spring blossomed into summer, our relationship thrived. We cherished the simple joys, sharing a cup of coffee in the morning, evening walks in the park, and the quiet moments of companionship that punctuated our days. Summer's warmth infused our lives with energy. Emma and I spent weekends exploring local farmers markets, attending outdoor concerts, and hosting small gatherings with friends and family. Each event was a celebration of the life we were building together, filled with laughter and genuine connection. Our home became a lively hub, always open to friends and family who brought their stories and dishes to share. Emma and I thrived in this environment, discovering that our love flourished not just in solitude, but also in the community we created around us. As my birthday approached, Emma planned a surprise weekend getaway to a lakeside cabin. The serene setting with the soothing sounds of lapping water and rustling leaves was perfect for reflection. It was here, amidst nature's calm, that Emma and I discussed our future more seriously, talks of commitments, of becoming partners not just in romance, but in life's journey. Sitting by the fire pit, watching the flames dance under a star-filled sky, Emma took my hand, her eyes reflecting the flickering light. "I've been thinking about us and our future," she began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. "I know we've both had our struggles before we found each other, but I believe in us, in what we have. I think it's time we take the next step." Her words hung in the air, mingling with the smoke from the fire. My heart, once wary of future commitments, now felt ready, strengthened by the love and trust we had built. "I think so too," I replied, the decision feeling as natural as the breeze around us. "Let's move forward together." The decision to deepen our commitment, to blend our lives fully, was exhilarating and profound. We spent the rest of the weekend in a bubble of joy and planning, discussing everything from potential homes to adopt to possible wedding venues. The future, once a source of uncertainty, now held the promise of shared adventures and a shared life. Returning from our getaway, Emma and I began taking practical steps towards our future. We started searching for a new place to live, a home that would be ours together, not just one of us moving into the other's space. We toured houses, imagining our furniture in the rooms, our pictures on the walls, and our dinners in the dining areas. Each visit painted a picture of a possible future, a canvas we were eager to fill together. During this period of planning and transition, our relationship grew even deeper. We supported each other through the stresses of house hunting and decision-making, discovering that our ability to work through challenges was as strong as our ability to celebrate joys. We learned to compromise and to find joy in each small victory along the way. Finally, we found the perfect house, a cozy place with a welcoming porch and a spacious backyard that promised many future barbecues and outdoor gatherings. Moving in was a labor of love, a physical manifestation of our decision to merge our lives. Each box we unpacked, each piece of furniture we placed, and each picture we hung was a step towards our new life together. As we settled into our new home, I often reflected on the incredible journey that had led us here. From the depths of heartbreak and betrayal, I had navigated a path of healing and growth that eventually brought me to Emma and a future I once thought impossible. Life had dealt its fair share of challenges, but it had also offered opportunities for profound joy and fulfillment. With our home finally set up, Emma and I decided to throw a housewarming party. We invited our closest friends and family to share in our joy. The house quickly filled with laughter, music, and the sound of clinking glasses, each toast celebrating our future and the new life we were building together. It was an evening of warmth and happiness, reflecting the community and love that surrounded us. As autumn arrived, painting the landscape in vibrant reds and golds, Emma and I began taking evening walks around our neighborhood, enjoying the crisp air and the rustling leaves beneath our feet. These simple moments underscored how much my life had changed. I had not only found love, but also a true partner in Emma, someone with whom I could share all of life's experiences. Our relationship, fortified by the challenges we had overcome and the joys we had shared, was a testament to the power of second chances. During one of these autumn walks, with golden leaves swirling around us, I decided to take another significant step in our relationship. As the setting sun bathed us in a warm glow, I proposed to Emma, offering her a ring that symbolized my commitment and hope for our future together. She accepted with tears of joy and a promise to face whatever the future held together. Our engagement was more than a commitment to marriage. It was a vow to continue supporting and growing with each other, cherishing the love that had blossomed between us. In the months that followed, wedding planning became a part of our daily lives. Choosing a venue, setting a date, and planning the details were steps toward a day that would mark the beginning of our married life. Throughout the process, we made choices that reflected our personalities and values, ensuring that our wedding day would be a true celebration of our unique bond. Our wedding was a beautiful affair, set against the backdrop of early spring. Friends and family gathered to witness our vows and share in our happiness. It was a day filled with laughter, tears, and dancing, a perfect start to our married life. As newlyweds, Emma and I continued to build on the strong foundation we had laid. We traveled, explored new hobbies together, and supported each other's dreams and aspirations. Our marriage was a partnership in every sense, characterized by mutual respect, love, and a deep understanding of each other's needs and desires. Reflecting on my journey, from the agony of betrayal to the joy of newfound love, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. The path had been long and often difficult, but it had led me to a place of happiness and fulfillment I once thought unreachable. My story, marked by trials and triumphs, reminded me that life, though unpredictable, is also filled with opportunities for growth and renewal. Through seasons of heartache and seasons of joy, I learned that the essence of life is not just to endure, but to thrive, finding deeper meaning in the experiences we collect along the way. As Emma and I looked to the future, we saw not a clear, predictable path, but an adventure we were eager to navigate together, filled with both surprises and certainties. With love and commitment as our guides, we were ready to explore the vast, beautiful landscape of life, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. And so, our story continues. A tale of love rediscovered, lives intertwined, and the unending quest for happiness and meaning in the tapestry of life.